Depends on you, so I should probably pull up my image first. There we go. Live.
Effects are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Final Count. Oh, now it goes off.
Yeah, you seem to be
Stupid
really laggy
effects.
then for a second. You like it took you like 30 seconds in between your speaking.
Weird. Am I okay now?
Yeah. Yeah, you seem fine now. I
That's probably
assume you're
because
plugged in and stuff.
I am not actually plugged in. I didn't think of that, but I think it was just the app was getting stuck for a second.
Ah, that's fine.
But anyway, yes, this is The Final Countdown. All right. The monthly show here on Pass the Mind where we count down the top 5 of whatever I feel like counting down that month. Joining me is Chris the Mole.
Yep. And this year is all supervillain themed.
It is. This is the first final countdown of our year of supervillains, where every final countdown, all 12 of them for this year, will be a supervillain themed countdown of some kind or another. We've already got the list. And this one, to start us off, is going to be, appropriately enough, the top 5 supervillain origins.
Actually, I believe you'll find last month started us off.
Well, that's not this year, is it?
We filmed it this year.
No, we didn't.
Didn't we?
No, we didn't. That was cool. I'll ruin this. So yeah. So this is the origins of supervillains. We did originally we quantified that it had to be someone with superpowers, but we also allow people who don't have powers, but who are generally acknowledged as supervillains because of the level of crimes they've been able to commit or level of world domination or whatever they've been able to attempt at.
Yeah, plus let's face it, the reason we said supervillains at first was just so it was just comic book villains, basically.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, it's all the cast of the usual suspects.
Ha.
Because as much as I do love that film, it's a case of there's too many villain. Like every film has a villain, so it's like we needed to hone it in a bit.
Yep. Agreed. So, Mole, why don't you go first with number 5?
Number 5.
Oh, right. Ah.
Black Adam.
Oh, yes. Teth Adam.
Black Adam's awesome.
He is. Soon to be played by The Rock.
Yep. And it's just a cool origin because it's one of those things where it tells you everything you kind of need to know from the get-going of just, it's what if the hero, in this case of Shazam, or Captain Marvel, it should be called, but what if Shazam turned evil? And that's pretty much this. Like, he's so powerful that he couldn't even be killed. They threw him like 5,000 years into space, and he just flew all the way back, just angry for vengeance. That's kind of dedication for an origin. It's like that's kind of cool. I mean, you tie it to like the ancient Egyptians and stuff. It's just a cool origin.
It is.
So he was my number 5, Black Adam.
Nice. Good choice. Yeah. And I always like the fact that because of his powers, he stayed young despite being like hundreds of years old, and as a result, he was able to he has all this ancient knowledge and stuff. I always thought that was cool.
That is always cool. It is always cool when you get like older, aged characters that actually logically have an intelligence behind them. Not just we've existed for millions of years. Attack. Yeah, you should know something about culture and history and stuff.
And the fact of the matter is, it gives him a built-in weakness because if somebody gets him to say the word, oh, he's a crippled old man.
Yep.
So there you go. That's good. That's a good choice. Excellent choice. So my number 5. Go over here for a sec. Would have helped if I actually imported the image file. That probably would have helped. But I don't pay attention to things because I'm an idiot. So my number 5 is the one that I had on here that doesn't technically have any powers. At least the main version of him does not have any powers. So no. So I give you the Shredder. Because I just like the fact, obviously he is Arokosaki, and I like the fact that he became a supervillain purely for revenge. He's like, no, I'm Arokosaki. You killed my brother. I will get revenge on you. And he's like, I'm gonna be a ninja, and I'm gonna hunt you down. I'm gonna kill you, and you know what? I'm the most powerful ninja anyway. I'm gonna take over because fuck it, why not?
Yep. Oh, I would want to point out with him, why does he always be like, yeah, I'm gonna lead the ninjas, yeah, ninjutsu, and you're like, but you're dressed like a samurai.
That's true. He is. I never thought about that.
It's just one of those little things of why you didn't think this through.
No, not at all.
But I do like the Shredder. He is a cool villain.
He is a great villain. I do like that. Like that, of course, in some incarnations, like when he becomes a super shredder and stuff, he does have powers. But in his main incarnation, he's just really good at martial arts, and he has a cool costume.
Yep.
So
he is cool.
The Shredder. Although I can never decide if I like the origin version better of where Splinter is actually the dude that killed his brother, supposedly, or when Splinter's the rat of the dude that killed his brother. I can never decide which version I like better.
Splinter's always supposed to be a rat.
Yeah. Because
I don't like him when he's a human.
Okay, fair enough. Let me get my thing here, and we'll go over to you for number 4.
Number 4, mine's a movie version of an origin.
Okay. Oh, close up, close up. Ah, nice. That was
movie
good.
Two-Face.
Movie
Just
Two-Face.
because I'm sorry, Two-Face's origin in the comics, it's similar, but let's face it, that one did it well. It made it more personal, or however you'd want to word it. And as well as doing it that way, it streamlined it, and they did it in a really cool way, and they made his origin really great, to the point that when he transformed into Two-Face, you actually felt sorry for him.
Yep.
Unlike normally when he turns into Two-Face, and you're just like, oh, he's a villain now.
Mm-hmm. So did Telltale, because they built that up well. Of he's kind of got some underlying psychological problems that came out steadily.
Yeah, they've used the psychological thing before in it, but even on the Telltale ones, like my one, the second he turned into Two-Face, I'm like, yeah, he's a villain. Because even in the first episode, where he's like, I don't want anything to do with you. You're a piece of shit. Now give me all your money, please. You're like, clearly the dude's a villain.
Yeah, yeah. And yet, like 80% of people still gave him their money.
Yeah. Yep, but they did.
It's better than most of the versions where it's just generic. Oh, he was a friend of Batman's, and then Batman accidentally threw acid in his face.
To be fair, it's normally in the comics, at least, it was always it was at one point he got it thrown in court. Someone threw it in his face, and it's always been that he's meant to have a psychological problem, but then manifests itself physically once he gets scarred.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Even the animated Batman one did that with Big Bad Half.
Fair enough.
But you're number 4, Jim.
Indeed. My number 4 here
is Loki, because 4. Haha.
No. Good try, though. Now, my number 4 is... Who was I doing for number 4? I can't remember the order I was doing these in, because they're not... Oh, here we go. All right, so my number 4... Poison Ivy. Now, admittedly, the movie is not good. The version that normally sticks in my head is the Batman and Robin version. But in general, I think her origin is pretty cool. Just that, she just wanted to be a botanist. She just wanted to take care of the flowers. And this asshole brings her in and then like fucking tries to rape her and do experiments on her. It's like that is just horrifying. That's not right.
Yep.
And suddenly, well, guess what? She was trying to give me powers, and now I'm gonna kill you, and now I'm gonna, sort of that. And I like that her motivation is always she's actually trying to help the Earth, and in her own twisted way, she's doing good, and that's what's kind of interesting about it. And I like how they play that in certain instances, like for example in Arkham Knight, where she's doing it for the plans, but she still ends up kind of saving the day, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I will admit she's my favorite of the DC villains. She's not on my list, but for the origin, but she is my favorite of the DC villains just for that of technically she's doing good.
Yeah. And admittedly, the Batman and Robin movie, they did get a good guy to play the crazy scientist. So even though they never mentioned, oh, he's the Floronic Man, but they still did a good job of this dude's a crazy scientist is going to do shit to her, and he's just a smarmy asshole, and you wanted to see him get killed, so it worked out. Like honestly, if they had just never got Arnold and just made Poison Ivy the main villain of that movie, it would have been like 10 times better.
It would have been.
That's number 4. Let's go over to you for number 3.
Number 3.
Click over to your screen. Whoa, too close. A little too close.
That's because it went straight to screensaver the second I moved it. So like, oh, come on.
Oops.
Doctor Doom. Because I'm sorry, one of his origins, the one I like the most, is
neither of the shitty ones from the movies.
No, it's the one where he's seen the future of the Earth, like he's seen all timelines, and each one humanity destroys itself except for one in which he was the ruler. So he wants to make himself the ruler to save humanity. That's kind of fucking genius.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I remember reading about that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and they don't touch, like, they haven't used that one on the films much, and I'm not at all. But I'm like, I like that just because that's a cool twist of the only reason he wants to rule the world is to save it.
Yeah, like even the one of the things I mentioned, I was reading up on Doom's origin a little bit. One of the ones I was thinking about, but I didn't use because I really just don't know the character that well. But I remember they're really like, even though Wakandan Panther God looked at his mind and was like, no, you're actually doing this for good.
Yep.
That's pretty neat.
Which that's kind of funny, and it makes him definitely unique, and that is a cool origin.
It does, and it actually adds an interesting level of depth when now knowing that when I think back to reading Secret Wars, where Emperor God Doom saved the world by putting all the multiverses together. It's like, he was technically right.
Yeah. Plus, you also have the stuff of his origin from where, like, his country, his home, and stuff. Which, in it, all of that stuff added on top of it is even more just wonderful. Like how he becomes Doom and when he gets the suit and the power, it's just cool. I like old Doom.
Doom is good. Doom is good.
Over to Jim.
Just wish they'd do him right in a movie for once. All right, over to me. So let's see. My number 3. Which order am I doing? Yeah, no, my number 3 is going to be, made my list for the second month in a row, Fall Sinestro. Probably should choose the picture I had from last month, but that would look really cool. I have no idea what that's from. I just like rings, but yeah, I like the fact that at least in most of the versions of his origin, Sinestro was, it was kind of some new thing. Is like, I'm ruling because it's what's best for the planet because it was such a horrible, corrupt government before me. And so, I took over for the betterment of my people, but he ended up being worse than when he took over. And he went from being, this supposed Green Lantern savior of his planet to just this horrible, evil dude. And I just like, the fall from grace, then blaming Hal Jordan like it's his fault. And like, no, it wasn't his fault that you fell from grace. Even though it kind of was, because Hal Jordan was the one that revealed the fact that he was ruling his planet like a fucking dictator. And again, the Guardians were like, no, we will take your ring back. Still cool. And admittedly, that was one of the good things they did right in the Green Lantern movie too. Was when they showed near the end after he had been kind of like gone through the whole movie and everything happened, and they see him getting the yellow ring at the end. It's like kind of realizing
he was cool in that.
Yeah, no, Guardians aren't treating me right. So that's good. And the ironic thing is that whenever Sinestro shows up, he talks about what assholes the Guardians are, and the problem is you can't argue with him because they are.
Yeah, they are. They are. But to be fair, so's most of the heroic teams. Like the Justice League have been assholes on situations before.
That is true. Well, Batman's just an asshole in general, but. All right, where's my thing here? Back to Mole. Number 2.
Number 2.
You said number 2. Oh, nice. Yes.
And it's not number 2 just because it's 2 people, but
we are
Venom.
Nice.
And that is Eddie Brock Venom. And the
Good
reason I
Venom.
gave it to the Eddie Brock Venom is I really love that idea of it's a villain, Venom as the villain. The origin is Spider-Man gets an outfit in the Secret Wars that he brings back to Earth, takes off the suit because it's of how much evil it's doing. Then it bonds to, and it was a really minor character of Eddie Brock. And suddenly they become this great villain that just wants to rip Spider-Man apart. And they may have got overexposed in the 90s. Yes, symbiotes did get overexposed. But that origin is so unique and it's really cool. And I'll even admit Spider-Man 3 did a great job.
Oh yeah,
Like I
except for the
still love I
whole
still
open my
love
mouth to talk thing.
that's not an origin. But I was on about
True.
they did a great job of the origin. Like I loved
Oh,
the
okay.
church scene and stuff where he's like, "Give me the strength to kill Peter Parker" and stuff. And you're like, "That's cool." And it's like when I first saw that in the trailer, I was hoping that was gonna be like an end credit scene to get a Venom thing where it goes on and it's just towards the camera. That was cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Venom is great. I do like Venom.
Yep. Oh, but you're number
Alright.
2, Jim.
My number 2, because I like villains who are somewhat justified in their evil, and you don't get more justified than the world put me in a prison camp and horribly treated my people. Now I realize that I'm actually part of the evolutionary supreme, and I'm going to make sure that our evolution are not treated the way I was treated as a child
And yep.
because
I also,
because Magneto.
I also love the fact both our number 2s have at one point gone good.
They have. It's true. And I like the fact and I like that this one has had 2 excellent portrayals in movies.
Yep.
But yeah, I just like Magneto's story. That you know, and especially the way they tapped into that in the last movie in the Apocalypse, where they and the few before that, but in the Michael Fassbender versions where they show here's him in the camp and why how he first got his powers, killing the guard and ripping the gate down in the camp, and how he had to learn to control that, and how they it brought it back to all that when the people he was living peacefully in this country, and then they found out who he was, and they killed his family and everything. It's like, oh.
Yep. Yep. Well, I will admit, I thought X-Men 1 did a much better job of that.
That did do a good job, also. Yes.
Because I'll admit, I thought when it came to that film, the new one, it's definitely the weakest of the new trilogy. It's their version of X-Men 3.
Kind of. Yeah.
It's not good.
No. But it did the Phoenix a lot better.
Did it?
I thought it was better. Matter of opinion.
Well, no, because the Phoenix is meant to be an alien entity, so they still fucked it up in the same way for me.
Fair enough. But yes, Magneto, because I like the sympathetic backstory of he's his people, mutant kind, being treated the way he and his people were treated in the concentration camps when he was a child, and he wants to make sure that doesn't happen again because he's seen what happens when a group of people is persecuted that way. And it's like it's not entirely wrong.
But I will admit, just like the one before it, the last one, better Quicksilver than Age of Ultron, and
Oh, by far.
his speedy scene or slow down scene, whatever you want to call it, is still fun. In this one as well, when he saves everyone.
Yes. My mother dated a dude who could do that once.
Yep, that's why I mentioned Quicksilver. He is Magneto's son.
He is Magneto's son. Now the question is whether we'll get I'm presuming I think after Logan they're probably going to reboot the X-Men, and if they do, maybe we'll end up with
But not.
versions of. Oh, they're not. I thought they were rebooting it.
They've already announced that they've got a TV show, and it's tied to the existing films, and that might be where they're
Okay.
going with it. X-Men Legion, I think it's called.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'd like to see how the since Fox did Quicksilver so well, I'd love to see how they did Wanda. Not that Marvel hasn't done a good job with the Scarlet Witch character, but I still mean it.
I don't like her.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's just going to be better now that they brought Doctor Strange in and they've said, okay, there is in fact magic. Maybe they can go back and
To be fair, her stuff varies where it's not really magic. Like she has the mutation. One instance, she had a mutation that just gave her the power of probability.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, that's her most famous one. Is the power of probability, where she can just make anything probable.
Okay then.
Yeah, it's weird,
That's a
but
little weird.
I just don't like her personality in the Age of Ultron. Like she just blends in too much. Like, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Fair enough. And now over to Mole for number one.
Number one, it's a specific one which is arguable because it went from canon to not canon. It's varied over the years, but still, I
Okay.
don't care. The Killing Joke, Origin of the Joker.
Nice.
Because The Killing Joke is one of the best comics ever. It's the best origin of the Joker, too, where you see him as just a regular guy. It fleshes out his story. You see like his life before he was Joker. You see why they put him in the Red Hood mask. You see how he fell into the stuff, and you saw how he gets just completely broken when he gets out. It's just brilliant. So yeah, Joker,
Nice.
Killing Joke version.
And so which version of his origin was that?
Again, Killing Joke version.
Right, but I mean, I'm trying to remember which one was the Killing Joke version.
The one I just mentioned, where you see him, where you see his life beforehand. You see him put him with the helmet on for the Red Hood,
Oh, okay.
but he gets sort of tricked into being the Red Hood,
Right. Okay, I got you.
and then he falls into the acid. It's great.
Right. Okay. I got you. So the one from that really good movie we watched, not the Killing Joke, but that other movie.
The Killing Joke was a good movie.
That was a good movie, but there was another movie where they showed the Joker's origin too, with a similar thing where he had the really tall red hood hat and stuff. I remember that was pretty cool.
Uh,
I don't remember which movie that was, but one of the other movies they showed that.
yeah, no, the Killing Joke movie was cool, but yeah, the Killing Joke comic version, I love that origin. It's just a great. That book is just a great insight into why Joker's
Was
the
that
way he is,
actually
sort
was
of.
that was that Batman under the red hood? Actually, I'm not sure.
It might be, but as I was saying,
Sorry.
that's just a great look into the origin of Joker, but also why he is the way he is, and it's just the perfect. I don't know what you'd call it, the perfect story of Joker and Batman's relationship. The Killing Joke's just a fantastic book. Everyone needs to read that.
It is. It is. I need to see that movie. I haven't seen that yet.
Read the book.
Okay, I'll read a book too.
I argue read the book
Yeesh.
first.
Fair enough. I can see why.
But you're number one.
And my number one is it's funny, not the first one I came up with, but once I realized it, I knew it had to be number one because this particular I've always really enjoyed this particular villain's or as a villain, but also this particular villain's origin story of all the many supervillains that I know. That's not unique per se, but I like the fact that much like Magneto, there is a good reason behind this person's supervillainy, and it's one of those things where you understand it, and it's one of those things where you can kind of you really sympathize with the villain and understand what's going on. And it's his origin has stayed generally consistent throughout portrayals, which has been good, even in the not as good portrayals. And my number one, I give you Mr. Freeze. Because I just love the fact the whole thing is for love. He loved his he loved his wife. He was trying to save her. There was and he's trying to save her. He fell in the free stuff, and everything he does is motivated by trying to find ways to cure, depending on the incarnation, whatever disease it is his wife has, and trying to save her. And everything is leading toward that, and getting revenge on Batman for perceived slights for trying to stop him from doing that.
Yep. Well,
And I always go
well, it
ahead.
is worth noting that was from the animated series onwards.
How was it?
Yeah, the animated series sort of gave him that backstory to make him more interesting. It was kind of cool because
Oh,
before that he was just
cool. I see what you did there.
no, but he was just basically like he was the same as Captain Cold beforehand, basically.
Oh, just a dude who built a cold gun.
Sort of. He wasn't that interesting. He was a scientist basically, and I think he gave himself cold powers. But if you look at him beforehand and you look at him afterwards, where he's got the suit and he's got that backstory, he's way more sympathetic since the animated series.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying it's consistent. I know I can't remember if I've seen it or not, but I know they did that movie Batman Sub-Zero where they really went into that.
Yep.
I can't remember if I've seen that movie or not, but I know I've seen at least parts of it, and I know that they've always kind of maintained that version. I know in the Arkham games they did the same thing where he was trying to help his wife, and even when you end up finding him in the in Arkham City, where you don't really near the near the end, there's a point you find him, and he afterward he's willing to help you because he understands you're trying to do the right thing and everything, and that and I like that fact that Mr. Freeze is always kind of that that semi-sympathetic character between that version, this version. Even the Arnold Schwarzenegger version had that whole that even despite over the top ridiculousness by Arnold, it's my wife and I'm trying to save her, and that whole thing near the end where it says look you're Victor, you're a doctor. You once had the power to give life. Taking life is easy. Giving life is hard. And giving life is a power you once had. Help me cure McGregor syndrome stage 1. And
to be fair, in Batman and Robin, he may have had it a little bit, but it was so badly written that you never once felt sympathy for him. Thus, it kind of ruined what it was.
True. That's true. And it's like there's take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Like, oh. That was kind of funny, even though that movie is horrible. But yeah, no, I just love Mr. Freeze's origin.
Mr. White Christmas.
Yes, I'm Mr. Snow. Dance your balls. No, but no, I love Mr. Freeze's origin. And how it's sympathetic. It's all about it's all for love. Trying to save his wife, and how dedicated he is to doing that, and how everything he does is motivated by that. It's not just pure crime. Everything is toward keeping himself alive so he can cure his wife's disease, believing he's the only one who can do so, and he may well be right. And the fact that in most of the incarnations, even when he's captured and locked up in Arkham, he's given a lab and permitted to continue working on that to try to find a cure. And that's it. I just always love that because he's powerful, he's intimidating. He has the ability to beat Batman anyone who comes against him, but he still has that motivation, that reason for you to be sympathetic toward him, and that's just the markings of a great supervillain.
Yep.
All right. There we go.
And just because I was waiting to make sure it wasn't on your list, I would give an honorable mention to Jason Todd's Red Hood character. But he sort of goes more anti-hero at times and stuff, to the point that I didn't want to count him. And fuck Arkham Knight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't even going to bother including the Arkham Knight. I was going to say Jason Todd Red Hood version.
Yeah. Makes sense. And the other one I was considering near the end that didn't end up making the list, he would have been at number 6, but Kurt Connor's the Lizard. Just because I like that, it's your straight up classic origin story. He was a scientist. He was trying to cure a problem, which was I don't have an arm, and oops, I turned myself into a giant lizard monster.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, honest mistake,
It's like, fun fact for you, Stephen Hawking was trying to cure his disease, and that's how he became Donald Trump.
Ah, that makes sense now.
Fact. Our facts may not actually be facts. Please consult Wikipedia for further advice.
We may be horrible people.
You are.
I didn't say it.
You are. I just play one on TV.
Okay, then. Oh, I'm bouncing everywhere. Slow down. Okay. Well, with that has been the final countdown. Thank you, Mole, for joining me. I always appreciate it.
And did you want to tell everyone what next month says? That way I can also write it down in advance just to make doubly sure.
Indeed. I'll be sure to stay tuned. Next month, in February, we are going to be, in honor of Valentine's Day, counting down the best villain couples and relationships.
Ah, yes. Which it is worth noting, they don't have to necessarily be two villains in love.
Yes, as long as a villain is one part of the couple, it's allowed. If the person is, somebody who's just a normal person, if it's a villain-hero relationship, that's permitted. Anything relationship that involves at least one villain.
Question. The rules and clarity. Hypothetical question.
Okay.
What if it's a villain who's doing good, but only because they have a chip in their head that stops them doing evil. Thus, they're still evil when they get into a relationship. Just hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical.
That was a genuine question.
Really? I love somebody who could, at least at some point, have been considered a villain. I guess I would count it.
He was technically a villain at that point.
Okay.
He was only doing good because the chip hurt him if he did evil. But he was still completely selfish, and even tried raping her at the point they start having a relationship.
Then yeah, I would say that counts.
Fuck yes, Buffy's making my list.
Yeah, I figured that was Buffy. Go with it. What the hell?
Buffy and Spike, come on. Spike was a villain at the time. It was awesome.
He was.
But no, yay. Relationships.
Indeed.
Waiting for the offline.
I'm just wondering to myself now. Does Triple H count as a supervillain because he has corporate power?
But when he got into a relationship with Stephanie, he was the good guy
Oh, that's true.
against the evil McMahons.
But then again, he took her through a drive-through chapel and probably raped her after the fact.
But he didn't rape her, as it was then revealed when she turned on her old man,
Ah, that's true.
thus saving Triple H from the old man. Yeah, wrestling makes no sense.
No. Anyway, this has been the final countdown. We'll see you next month, folks. Peace.
Yep.